the rest of my life, knowing that I wasn't there for my baby.
On justice for my mom. Something has to happen. We don't feel safe.
I just shot my fiancée. She came at me with a knife. The voice on the 911 call was eerily calm as Tirrell Edwards reported, taking the life of 46-year-old Amanda Williams. It was 11:30 at night on October 9th, 2023, in what should have been their shared sanctuary in Warrensville Heights, Ohio. The dispatcher's questions were met with calculated responses. "Yes, she's breathing," Edwards claimed, though he made no move to help the woman bleeding out on their floor. When Amanda's daughter tried to rush to her mother's aid, Edwards blocked her path. No CPR, no pressure on wounds, no desperate attempts to save the woman he had asked to marry just days earlier. 8 gunshot wounds would tell a different story than Edwards' claims of self-defense, a story of execution rather than protection, a story that would leave a family shattered and a community demanding justice. Amanda Williams wasn't just another statistic. She was the heartbeat of her community, a talented hairstylist whose chair became a place of transformation and trust for countless clients. Her warm smile greeted fellow members at the Word Church each Sunday, where her faith radiated through service to others. As a proud sister of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, she embodied their principles of sisterhood and public service. To her children, Tyler Williams and Tristan Bentley, she was simply mom, their rock, their confidant, their biggest cheerleader. Her brother Joey Lewis described her as the magnetic center of family gatherings, the one who made holidays feel complete. Amanda's 4-year-old granddaughter adored her, never imagining their time together would be cut short so violently. Welcome to Explosive True Crime Stories, where we not only share real-life cases, but analyze what led to these tragedies and how they might have been prevented. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Explosive True Crime Stories. Your engagement helps these crucial messages reach more people who might be facing similar dangers. Her salon wasn't just a business. It was a community hub where Amanda listened, advised, and uplifted everyone who sat in her chair. Her hands created beauty while her heart created connections. Just days before her murder, Amanda had accepted Tirrell Edwards' proposal. Her family had welcomed him, even dapped him up when he respectfully asked for their blessing. Photos showed Amanda beaming, displaying her engagement ring, planning for a future that would never come. The celebration of their commitment quickly gave way to violence. The same hands that had placed a ring on her finger would pull a trigger 8 times. The man who vowed to protect her would prevent others from saving her life. The home where they should have built dreams together became the scene of her final moments. As I take you through this heartbreaking story, I want you to ask yourself, what warning signs might have been missed? Could someone have intervened? How does a relationship transform from love to lethal violence so quickly? If you've ever worried about someone you care about, or if you felt unsafe in your own relationship, this story might help you recognize the danger signs before tragedy strikes. Your comments sharing similar concerns could help someone else watching right now. This isn't just Amanda's story. It's about understanding how domestic violence escalates and how we can protect ourselves and those we love. Born in 1977, Amanda Williams grew up with the kind of warmth that naturally drew people to her. Family members describe her as the glue that held everyone together, the one who remembered every birthday, organized holiday gatherings, and showed up whenever anyone needed support. Her brother Joey Lewis often spoke of how Amanda could light up any room she entered with her infectious laugh and genuine interest in others' lives. Amanda's parents instilled in her strong values of hard work, faith, and community service, principles she carried throughout her 46 years. She was raised in a close-knit family where Sunday dinners were sacred and looking out for one another was simply expected. These foundations shaped Amanda into the nurturing presence her loved ones cherished. As an adult, Amanda built her life in Warrensville Heights, Ohio, creating a home that became a gathering place for family celebrations and quiet moments alike. Her door was always open to relatives needing advice, a home-cooked meal, or simply a listening ear. She maintained deep connections with her extended family, serving as the family historian who kept stories and traditions alive across generations. Amanda's resilience through life's challenges earned her family's admiration. She faced setbacks with grace and emerged stronger, modeling for her children how to navigate life's difficulties with dignity. Amanda's beauty salon wasn't just her livelihood. It was her canvas and sanctuary. For over 2 decades, she built a loyal clientele who came as much for her skillful hands as for her compassionate heart. Her chair became a confessional of sorts, where clients shared their deepest struggles and greatest joys, while Amanda transformed not just their appearance, but often their outlook. She had an intuitive understanding of what would make each person feel beautiful, adapting trends to suit individual personalities and needs. Amanda invested in continuous education, traveling to hair shows and workshops to bring the latest techniques back to her community. Her business acumen was as impressive as her artistic talent. She had built her salon from scratch, overcoming the challenges that face many Black female entrepreneurs. Fellow stylists sought her mentorship, and she generously shared her knowledge, helping several young professionals establish their own careers in the beauty industry. Her salon became a launching pad for talent in the community. Amanda's faith was the cornerstone of her existence. At the word church, she wasn't just a Sunday attendee, but an active participant who lived her beliefs daily. She served on multiple ministry teams, volunteered for community outreach programs, and mentored younger women in the congregation. Fellow church members recall how she would quietly pay for others' needs without seeking recognition. As a dedicated member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, Amanda embodied their commitment to public service. She organized fundraisers for scholarships, participated in voter registration drives, and mentored young girls through the sorority's youth initiatives. Her sorority sisters became an extended family, standing with her through life celebrations and challenges. Amanda's community involvement extended to local schools, where she provided free haircuts to children from low-income families before special events and the start of school years. She believed everyone deserved to feel confident and cared for, regardless of their circumstances. To her daughter Tyler Williams and son Tristan Bentley, Amanda was everything: confidant, cheerleader, and unwavering support system. She balanced gentle guidance with fierce protection, teaching them to stand tall in their truth while showing compassion to others. Their home resonated with laughter and honest conversations, creating a foundation of trust that defined their relationships.
Standing outside Warrensville Heights Police Department, there are family, friends, and even sorority sisters who all want one thing:
justice for Amanda!
With weary hearts.
I have to live the rest of my life knowing that I wasn't there for my baby.
Amanda Williams' mother and daughter, Tyler Williams, say they're not giving up in their fight for justice during a press conference Tuesday afternoon at the Word Church.
I just want justice for my mom. Something has to happen. We don't feel safe.
Amanda Williams was killed more than 2 weeks ago after what started as a domestic violence call. Warrensville Heights police had her fiancé in custody, but he was released from jail after Warrensville Heights told News 5 in a statement that the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office determined there was insufficient evidence to charge him. Prosecutors also told us he had plans to claim self-defense, so we reached back out for an update. In a statement, they say their office received preliminary reports from police on Monday and are waiting for additional evidence. Once prosecutors believe the investigation is fully complete, they will determine how to proceed, which will likely include a presentation to the grand jury.
Let me be crystal clear that there's more to this case than you may know.
With this, Pastor R.A. Vernon, along with Williams' family, friends, and sorority sisters, went to Warrensville Heights Police Department today to present pictures and text messages of what they say is evidence in her case.
My deepest condolences from you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
The life of my sister matters. And for that, we won't stop until we get justice for Amanda.
After standing outside for nearly an hour, family and friends left hopeful
They are working on it.
that justice will be served.
They're listening to us and it's moving forward. We're happy about that. Very happy about that.
We reached out to Warrensville Heights Police Department, and at this time, they have yet to respond back to our request. In Warrensville Heights,
Justice will be served.
Remy Murray, News 5.
Yeah, it's gonna be worth it, baby.
When Warrensville Heights police arrived at the scene, they found Edwards waiting calmly, his story of self-defense already prepared. Officers secured the weapon and documented the scene, noting the position of Amanda's body and the knife Edwards claimed she had threatened him with. Despite the severity of the crime, investigators initially appeared to accept Edwards' version of events at face value. In a decision that would spark community outrage, Edwards was briefly detained for questioning but released within 48 hours. Authorities cited insufficient evidence to contradict his self-defense claim, despite the multiple gunshot wounds and witness testimony from Amanda's daughter. The detective assigned to the case told the family they needed to wait for forensic results and the medical examiner's report before proceeding with charges. This initial release allowed Edwards to return home, collect his belongings from the residence he had shared with Amanda, and potentially destroy evidence, a critical investigative misstep that would later complicate the prosecution's case. The Williams family's grief quickly transformed into righteous anger when they learned Edwards had been released. Amanda's brother Joey Lewis became the family spokesperson, questioning how 8 gunshot wounds could possibly align with a self-defense narrative. "My sister was executed," he told local media, "and they let her killer walk free." The Word Church community rallied around the family, with Reverend R.A. Vernon using his platform to demand accountability from law enforcement. During a Sunday service attended by hundreds, he declared, "Justice delayed is justice denied," as Amanda's empty seat in the congregation stood as a stark reminder of their loss. Amanda's sorority sisters from Delta Sigma Theta, many with connections to legal and political circles, began making calls to the prosecutor's office and police department. They organized a vigil outside the Warrensville Heights Police Department, where more than 200 people gathered with candles and photos of Amanda, their signs asking the pointed question, "Does her black life matter to you?" What began as a family's cry for justice quickly evolved into a coordinated social media campaign that would ultimately force authorities to take action. Amanda's daughter Tyler created the hashtag #JusticeForAmanda, sharing photos of her mother alongside details of the case that contradicted Edwards' self-defense claim. The campaign gained momentum when several of Amanda's high-profile salon clients used their platforms to amplify the family's concerns. Posts detailing the 8 gunshot wounds and Edwards' prevention of medical aid went viral, generating thousands of shares and comments demanding accountability. Community activists created a dedicated Facebook page that coordinated daily phone calls to the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office. They organized email campaigns targeting local officials and media outlets, ensuring Amanda's story couldn't be ignored or forgotten. The persistent pressure from family, community, and social media activists finally yielded results in November 2023, when Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Michael O'Malley announced he would present the case to a grand jury. By this time, the medical examiner's report had conclusively established that Amanda's neck wound would have immediately paralyzed her, making Edwards' claim that she attacked him with a knife physically impossible. The grand jury reviewed the forensic evidence, witness statements, and the contradictions in Edwards' various accounts to police. They returned an indictment charging Edwards with aggravated murder, 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of felonious assault, and domestic violence. The aggravated murder charge specifically addressed the element of prior calculation and design, suggesting prosecutors believed Edwards had planned the killing. Edwards was arrested at his workplace and held without bail pending trial. The trial began in February 2024. With Edwards maintaining his claim of self-defense. Taking the stand in his own defense, he portrayed Amanda as the aggressor, testifying that she had become increasingly volatile during their argument. "She came at me with a butcher knife," he told the court, his voice steady as he described fearing for his life. Edwards' attorney, Andy Petropoulias, presented his client as a nonviolent man with no prior felony convictions who worked 2 jobs and faithfully paid child support for his 3 minor children. The defense strategy centered on characterizing the shooting as a tragic but justified response to an immediate threat. Edwards testified that he had removed his guns from the home specifically to de-escalate the situation, claiming he only retrieved Amanda's firearm because he feared she would use it against him. He described the recording of the confrontation as an attempt to document her threatening behavior, not as provocation. The forensic evidence systematically dismantled Edwards' self-defense narrative.
I review the verdict forms, and they do appear to be accurately or at least completely filled out. Mr. Edwards, you could please stand. The verdict forms in this case, count one. Verdict reads, we, the jury in this case, being duly impaneled and sworn, do find the defendant, Tirrell Edwards, not guilty of aggravated murder in violation of 2903.01a of the Ohio Revised Code is charged in count one of the indictment. It is signed in ink by all 12 jurors, and the specifications are not completed. Count two, the verdict reads, we, the jury in this case, being duly impaneled and sworn, do find the defendant, Tirrell Edwards, guilty of murder in violation of Revised Code Section 2903.02a of the Ohio Revised Code is charged in count two of the indictment. It is signed in ink by all 12 jurors. Pursuant to their directions, the firearm specification. All right. First firearm specification reads, we, the jury in this case, having found the defendant guilty of murder, further find and specify that the defendant, Tirrell Edwards, did have a firearm on or about his person or under his control while committing the offense of murder is charged in count two of the indictment. It is signed in ink by all 12 jurors. Firearm specification 2 reads, we, the jury in this case, having found defendant guilty of murder, further find and specify that the defendant, Tirrell Edwards, did have a firearm on or about his person or under his control while committing the offense and displayed the firearm, brandished the firearm, indicated he possessed the firearm or used it to facilitate the offense of murder. It's charged in count two of the indictment. It is filled out in ink by all 12 jurors. Verdict form for count three, charge of murder. We, the jury in this case, being duly impaneled and sworn, do find the defendant, Tirrell Edwards, guilty of murder in violation of Revised Code Section 2903.02b of the Ohio Revised Code. It's charged in count three of the indictment. It is filled out in ink by all 12 jurors. Furthermore, both of the firearm specifications indicate that he did have a firearm on or about his person or under his control. Verdict form for count four, felonious assault, reads, we, the jury in this case, being duly impaneled and sworn, do find the defendant, Tirrell Edwards, guilty of felonious assault in violation of Section 2903.11a1 of the Revised Code is charged in count four of the indictment. It is completed in ink by all 12 jurors or signed in ink by all 12 jurors. Their further findings is that he did have a firearm on or about his person or under his control in both of the specifications, which is also completed in ink. Count five, charge of felonious assault. We, the jury in this case, being duly impaneled and sworn, do find defendant Tirrell Edwards guilty of felonious assault in violation of Section 2903.11a2 of the Revised Code. Is charged in count five of the indictment. It is accurately signed by all 12 jurors in ink, as well as both of the firearm specifications are found that he did have a firearm. Those are signed as well in ink. Finally, count six, the verdict form reads, we, the jury in this case, being duly impaneled and sworn, do find defendant Tirrell Edwards guilty of domestic violence in violation of Section 2919.25a of the Revised Code is charged in count six indictment. It is signed in ink by all 12 jurors. Anything else on behalf of the state of Ohio?
No, Judge, thank you.
Anything else on behalf of the defense?
I just ask that you pull the jury in.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do is just point to each one of you and ask if those verdicts are your individual verdicts. So, sir, are these verdicts your individual verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, are these verdicts your individual verdicts? Ma'am, are these verdicts your individual verdicts? Sir, are these verdicts your individual verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, are these verdicts your individual verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, are these verdicts your individual verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
And sir, are these verdicts your individual verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, are these verdicts your individual verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, are these verdicts your individual verdicts?
Yes.
And ma'am, are these verdicts your individual verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, are these verdicts your individual verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
And ma'am, are these verdicts your individual verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to ask you if you would just retire back in your jury room for a few minutes. I'll be back to join you. I do truly want to thank you on behalf of the entire community These cases are important for everyone involved, and we definitely appreciate your efforts. All rise to the jury.
Fiancé methodically highlighted the contradictions in Edwards' statements to police. First, he claimed he removed his guns because he didn't want to use them on Amanda. The very next day, his story changed. Suddenly, she was holding him hostage, and he feared she would use the guns on him. Which is it? The prosecution emphasized Edwards' failure to render aid or allow Amanda's daughter to help. If this was truly a tragic accident, a justified shooting followed by immediate regret, why prevent a mother from receiving potentially life-saving care? Why stand by and watch her die? Most powerfully, Fiancé played the recording Edwards had made, asking jurors, "Listen for yourself. Do you hear a single attempt to de-escalate? A single word saying, 'I have your gun, please stop'?" No, because that was never his intention. After 3 days of deliberation, the jury returned on March 4, 2024, with their verdict. They found Edwards guilty of 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of felonious assault, and 1 count of domestic violence. He was acquitted only of the aggravated murder charge, which required proof of prior calculation and design. On March 18th, Judge Steve Gall sentenced Edwards to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 24 years. As the sentence was read, Edwards showed no emotion, while Amanda's family embraced each other, many wearing pins with her photo and holding signs reading, "Justice for Amanda." The sentencing hearing provided Amanda's family their first opportunity to address the court, and Edwards directly. More than 24 supporters filled the courtroom wearing pins with Amanda's photo and holding signs reading, "Justice for Amanda." The emotional weight in the room was palpable as family members approached the podium one by one, their grief raw and unfiltered. Amanda's mother, her voice breaking with emotion, spoke of birthdays, holidays, and everyday moments now forever marked by absence. "You didn't just take my daughter," she said, looking directly at Edwards. "You took our future, every conversation we'll never have, every celebration that will always feel incomplete." She described the physical toll of grief, how she woke each morning with the momentary forgetting, followed by the crushing remembrance that her daughter was gone. Amanda's son Tristan spoke of his mother's unwavering support through every milestone in his life. "She was supposed to see me graduate college, get married, have children," he said. "Now my future accomplishments will always be shadowed by her absence." He described the nightmares that plagued him, dreams where he could save his mother if only he had been there that night. Friends from Amanda's church and sorority shared how her absence had created a void in their community. "Her chair remains empty," one sorority sister testified, "but her spirit fills our meetings. We've established a scholarship in her name to support young women pursuing careers in cosmetology, ensuring her passion for helping others continues." Tyler Williams, who was in the home with her 4-year-old daughter when her mother was murdered, delivered perhaps the most devastating testimony. She described hearing the gunshots and being physically prevented by Edwards from reaching her dying mother. "I will forever live with the knowledge that I was just rooms away while my mother bled out on the floor," she said, her voice steady despite her tears. Tyler described the trauma that continued to haunt both her and her young daughter. "How can I ever explain to my child that her grandmother is never coming back? That the man who was supposed to join our family is the reason she's gone?" The 4-year-old now suffered from nightmares and separation anxiety, afraid whenever Tyler left her sight. 2 generations of women traumatized in a single night of violence, Tyler concluded. And for what? Joe Lewis, Amanda's brother, approached the podium with visible anger and grief. He reminded the court of the day Edwards had asked for his blessing to marry Amanda. "I dapped you up," he said, looking directly at Edwards for the first time. "I told you I was rooting for you." His voice broke as he continued. "I feel like I'm responsible for a little bit of this." Lewis then turned fully toward Edwards, who avoided eye contact throughout the confrontation. "How could you kill that woman like that, Tirrell?" Lewis demanded, his question echoing through the silent courtroom. "How could a man do that to a person he says he loves?" Edwards remained expressionless, offering no response to the brother of the woman he had murdered. The community's response to Amanda's murder extended beyond the courtroom. The Word Church established a domestic violence awareness program in her memory, with Reverend Vernon dedicating resources to education and prevention. Amanda's salon was transformed into a memorial space before reopening under new management, with a portion of proceeds supporting domestic violence survivors. Perhaps the most dangerous moment in abusive relationships occurs when the victim attempts to leave. Statistics show that 75% of domestic homicides happen during separation or after the relationship has ended. This explains why Edwards' reaction to Amanda's demand that he leave the house triggered such lethal violence. His control was being challenged in a fundamental way. The presence of firearms dramatically increases the risk of fatal domestic violence. Research shows that women are 5 times more likely to be killed when their abuser has access to guns. Edwards' ownership of multiple weapons created a lethal environment waiting for a trigger. For those recognizing these warning signs in their own relationships, resources exist that can provide safety and support. The National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE, offers 24-hour confidential support, safety planning, and referrals to local resources. Their website provides guidance on creating escape plans and securing digital privacy from monitoring. Local domestic violence shelters provide emergency housing, legal advocacy, and counseling services. Many operate with trauma-informed approaches that recognize the complex emotional and practical challenges of leaving dangerous relationships. These organizations can help secure protective orders, navigate custody issues, and connect survivors with housing and financial assistance. Faith communities and cultural organizations increasingly offer specialized support for domestic violence survivors. The Word Church's program created in Amanda's memory represents how community-specific resources can reach those who might not otherwise seek help through traditional channels. Bystanders play a crucial role in preventing domestic violence tragedies. If you notice concerning behaviors in a friend's relationship, maintain regular contact rather than withdrawing when their partner makes connection difficult. Express specific concerns without judgment. I've noticed he texts constantly when we're together, and you seem anxious about responding quickly. That worries me. Offer resources without demanding immediate action. Understand that leaving is a process, not an event, and your consistent support matters more than a single intervention. Create a safety word or signal your friend can use if they need emergency help. Most importantly, believe them. Validation can be life-saving for someone whose reality is constantly being questioned by their abuser. Amanda Williams' life cannot be defined by its violent end. Her legacy lives on in the children she raised with love and strength, the clients whose confidence she built through her artistry, and the community she served with unwavering dedication. The scholarships bearing her name will nurture future generations of stylists who share her commitment to using their talents to uplift others. The domestic violence programs established in her memory will save lives, turning her tragedy into protection for countless women who might otherwise suffer similar fates. Perhaps Amanda's most powerful legacy is the conversation her story has started about recognizing the warning signs of domestic violence before they escalate to tragedy. Through her life and death, she continues to teach, protect, and inspire, qualities that defined her 46 years of vibrant existence. If this story moved you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your engagement helps these crucial stories reach more viewers who might recognize warning signs in their own relationships or those of loved ones. Leave a comment sharing your thoughts or experiences. Your words might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear today. Consider sharing this video with someone who might benefit from understanding these warning signs. Domestic violence thrives in silence and isolation. By spreading awareness, you become part of the solution. Together, we can ensure Amanda's story saves lives and prevents other families from experiencing such devastating loss.